Think about this for a second. You practice something, right? Hours and hours. You get good, really good in practice. But then the real thing happens. Suddenly it's high stakes, maybe lives are even on the line, and poof, it's like all that practice just evaporates.
Yeah, that gap between the range and the real world is huge.
You might get that tunnel vision, reactions feel like they're in slow motion, you miss things you shouldn't. It happens, even to really skilled people.
Absolutely. It shows it's not just about raw talent.
Exactly.
Okay.
And that's what we're really diving into today, mastering performance when the pressure is absolutely crushing, going way beyond just talent or, drilling something by rote.
And central to this is an organization called Valortec. They are laser focused on this specific type of critical training.
Right. And the person really driving it is their chief operating officer, Herfel Torres. We're talking 3 decades of experience here, shaped profoundly by, well, some incredibly intense personal events. That's really the engine behind their whole approach.
And Valortec's mission, it's really interesting. It's not just about checking a box or passing a qualification test on a nice, calm range.
No.
It's about fundamentally preparing people, hardwiring them, you could say, to perform when everything goes sideways, training for the chaos of reality, not just the test.
Yeah, and the sources we looked at for this dive, they really shed light on Herfel's journey professionally, but also that one defining moment that just changed his whole perspective.
It really did.
Because the fundamental problem, and Herfel saw this clearly, is that even people who are excellent shooters can just fall apart when real stress hits.
The physiological and psychological impact is immense.
You get the tunnel vision, the slow reactions, you miss opportunities. It underlines that it's not just talent, it's how you specifically train the body and the mind to handle that onslaught.
What do you think is the biggest sort of myth about training for this stuff?
That's a good one. Probably the idea that just repetition equals proficiency under pressure.
Yeah.
Shoot enough rounds and you'll be fine.
Right. Quantity over quality, almost. Yeah. Kind of. But Herfel Torres, with his 30-plus years as a firearms instructor and tactical performance specialist, he sees it differently. He actually combines stress performance shooting, that's training while stressed, with biomechanics, how your body moves efficiently.
Okay.
And neural conditioning, basically retraining your brain's pathways to react optimally under duress.
So it's much more holistic, not just point and shoot.
Exactly. It's about fundamentally changing how someone performs when the pressure is absolutely on, making sure they can do what they know they need to do almost automatically.
Okay, let's really unpack this, because his expertise is clear. But the real raw driving force behind Valortec, his life's work, really, it comes from this incredibly personal event. 1991, he survived an assassination attempt.
Yeah, it's quite a story. An ambush. Dimly lit street, he was alone, no backup at all.
Took him.
Multiple rounds hit his vehicle. One actually struck him on his left side. And wounded, bleeding, he still gets back in the car and drives through the gunfire to escape. I mean, the presence of mind, the immediate action required in that chaos, it's staggering.
Especially when your body is just screaming panic signals.
Right.
And it didn't end there. He drives to a nearby hotel, desperate for help. He gets out, covered in blood, car full of bullet holes.
And the staff, they just froze, stared. Understandable maybe, but...
He said he realized right then he was completely on his own. Again.
So adrenaline kicks in again. He gets back in the car.
And drives himself, 28 minutes to the hospital.
28 minutes wounded. That drive, can you even imagine the mental state?
He talks about it almost like an out-of-body thing, operating on pure ingrained training, muscle memory.
Yeah, he even mentions trying to roll up the shot-out windows before walking into the ER. Just automatic actions.
Incredible. Then he collapses right as he gets inside. Nurses catch him. Things go dark.
And then he wakes up, fully conscious, sees the surgeon's scalpel cutting into his arm. That image, he says, just burned into his mind.
And here's the key part, right? He doesn't just see it as a brush with death. He calls it a mission briefing for the rest of his life.
That's powerful phrasing.
It is. From that moment, he became, in his words, obsessed with figuring out what makes the difference. In the absolute chaos of a real fight, what separates survival from, well, the alternative?
And that led to the question that drives everything at Valortec.
Right. How can we prepare our bodies and minds not just to shoot, but to survive? That question, he says, it's behind every single course, every curriculum, every person he mentors.
And you can see how that experience directly informs their methods. This isn't just target practice. It's what they call stress inoculation, pushing people to function when everything inside them is screaming danger.
So how does this translate? What's the actual impact for Valortec and the people they train?
Well, Herfel's personal mission flows directly into measurable results. Under his leadership, Valortec consistently delivers over 450 hours of certified training every year.
Okay, 450 hours is a lot.
Hmm.
But it's more than just volume, isn't it?
Oh, definitely. They've led more than 25 law enforcement requalification cycles. And we're talking federal agencies, even SOF units, special operations.
High-level stuff.
Very. And they've developed intense scenario-based training, CQB close quarters battle, fighting in tight spaces, and force-on-force programs.
That's where they use the non-lethal ammo, right? To simulate real encounters.
Exactly. Creates genuine pressure. And get this, these programs have raised qualification scores by over 40%.
40%. Hold on. That's not a small bump. That's massive. Can you put that in perspective? Like, what's a non-tactical equivalent of a 40% performance jump?
Okay, imagine like a pro athlete, someone already performing at a high level. Then a new training approach makes them 40% better in their core skill. It's almost unheard of. It's a fundamental shift in capability.
So for Valortec, it's proof that their method works. Simulating the chaos gets results that traditional methods just don't.
Precisely. It's about building resilience under stress. They've even taken shooters who were consistently failing calls and turned them into functional performers under live fire.
That's compelling. But I imagine with such a different approach, they must run into some resistance sometimes from people or agencies stuck in older ways of training.
Oh, sure. Skepticism exists, but, the results tend to speak for themselves. When you see that kind of improvement, it's hard to argue.
So the bottom line for Valortec students and their agencies is they're not just learning to pass a test.
Not at all. They are being trained really hardwired for actual fights, where, as Herfel puts it, there are no warm-ups. You have to be ready instantly.
And Herfel's own background backs this all up. The list of credentials is extensive.
It really is. Multiple NRA instructor certs, law enforcement-specific ones, GOCK certifications, MOS instructor, advanced armor affiliations with major LE training groups like ILEFI and LEFIA, ILEDA.
He's also the sole instructor for Florida in that Tactical Hive program.
Correct. And accredited by Texas A&M for civilian response to active shooter events and medical countermeasures. It's a very comprehensive skill set. Tactical, preventative, instructional.
Yeah, it's no surprise he's been a finalist for Best Firearms Instructor in the U.S. 3 years running. That speaks volumes about his ability to actually connect and empower people.
Absolutely. It shows he doesn't just know his stuff. He knows how to teach it effectively, especially for high-pressure readiness.
So Valortec really seems to offer this unique combination of deep expertise and very engaging reality-based training for law enforcement, federal teams, even armed civilians.
Yeah, to sum it up, Valortec's mission, born from Herfel Torres' own harrowing experience and refined over 3 decades of expertise, is fundamentally about preparing people for the absolute highest stakes, making sure they can perform when it counts the most.
Which really brings it back to you listening right now. It makes you think. What experiences in your life have shaped how you think about preparation, about performing when things get tough?
How does that inform how you approach challenges now?
Because it doesn't matter if it's law enforcement or, a critical work presentation, a difficult conversation, even a personal emergency. There's a huge difference between just knowing what to do and actually being able to do it when everything is on the line. Something to really consider.